Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the live webinar. Real quick, guys, quick reminder, especially for guys that are new. We don't use the Q&A, we use the comment section. It's private. That makes everything move a little quicker. I will acknowledge all the questions, highlight the ones that I can. But if somebody could, please just give me a heads up. Let me know you can hear and see me okay using chat, please. I'd very much appreciate it. Sorry. Hello, Rosalana. Oh, Lonnie. Hope I pronounced that correct. If somebody can let me know they can hear and see me okay, we can get this thing rolling. There will also be, guys, just so you know, there will be a file download you can grab. You're going to want to do that. Let's just say there's some interesting information in there. And hopefully Jeff will be on here soon and be able to pop that on there for us. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm glad everybody can see and hear me okay. I've got it. Are you able to translate to Spanish? Okay, let me start going. All right, I'm going to acknowledge some names real quick, and then I'm going to get into questions. No need to tell me. I can see that everybody can hear and see me okay. Thank you. Rosalani, Emmanuel, Joshua, Charles, John, Dexter, Priscilla, Richard, Stuart, Alfred, Robert, Kevin, good Lord, Denny, Susan, Rose, Elvira, Deb, Patty, LaQuisha, Lou, and Jared. Fantastic. Okay, so guys, first question tonight, man, right out of the chute. Thank you. We need to have, if we really want to grow the community and make sure that everybody's getting as much as they can out of it, I need everybody to participate that can with any questions they have. Emmanuel, hi, can you explain the advance payment of $500 or percentage you send out for partners in the national surplus? So here's the way that works, Emmanuel. When I get one under contract, I'll let you know. However, there is a slight delay. In other words, when we have a verbal contract, we send out the mobile notary. I'm not going to let you know at that point. I'm going to wait till I get the paperwork back. 99.9% of the time it comes back, but the last thing I want to do is get you excited over something that's going to fall apart. So I wait until I get that back, and we've sent it to the attorney, which means it could take 3 to 5 business days after I receive the document back for the attorney to go ahead. And the reason we hire the attorney right out of the chute is we have them double check immediately that the money is still there, that we're correct about that. No claims have been made on it, okay? And also that the title work that you guys submitted was correct. They double check behind us. So it's very important that you understand that. At that point, I'll contact you. And yes, I have no problem, especially if it's in a state where we've done business before, we know we can rock it out of there, where the attorney's really good. Okay, if it's a brand new spot, brand new county somewhere, there may be a slight 3 to 4 more business days delay in that. But I will send the 500. The percentage is national surplus funds. For those of you guys who haven't bought, both the national surplus and the Premier 16 teach you how to do it on your own. The national surplus only requires you go get a list. We teach you how to do that. You take the list, you research the debt against the property, fill out a worksheet with that information, turn it in. We do the rest. Okay, we give you a total of 8%. Yes, I will give you 500 at point of contract after the attorney's double checked it out of that 8%. The other one is the Premier 16. That requires you research debt, but also find the people and have a warm conversation. Higher percentage, more work, right? Have a warm conversation with them to make sure you've got the right person and they're willing to speak with us. Okay. Hello from Colorado Springs, Priscilla. Okay, Richard, are you able to translate to Spanish? So, Richard, no, I'm not able to translate now to Spanish. We, just so you know, because this might be a different question, maybe I'm misunderstanding it. We do have our case managers, when we call people, are bilingual, if that's what you're asking me. And that's just because we do a lot of work in areas that have a large demographic that speaks Spanish. Let's see here. Hey, Audrey and Jared. Corey. Hi, Sean. I really enjoyed the ebook and videos. I'm new to this and trying to find lists. Is there any reason I'm finding mortgage foreclosures more challenging to find than tax? Yes, Corey. Great question. And I'm going to allude to something and say, guys, download that file download. You might have to close your chat. I'm not sure how yours is set up, but definitely download that file download. There's some interesting information in there. But yeah, Dexter, so some states, what a great question. Some states with mortgages, what they do, mortgage overages, is they will allow, for instance, California and Texas. And I know saying those two states in the same sentence doesn't make any sense. But California and Texas, those two states allow the foreclosing attorney, called the trustee for the bank in most instances, they allow the attorney to actually hold the money and disperse it later, or at least hold it onto it for a while, try to disperse it, and then eventually send it on to the state. As a result, those attorneys are not going to give you the list of unclaimed funds. They're not. It's too much of a liability for them. They don't want to deal with it. There's ways to get around that we'll probably get to in the future. But for now, there's certain states you can't get mortgage overage lists from, okay? Tax are just a lot easier to get in most instances. A lot of states, it's very easy, though, to get mortgage overage lists. We have stuff turned in all the time from both sides of that equation. So, by the way, somebody asked a Q&A or use the Q&A section. Please don't use that. Please use chat. We're not gonna look at Q&A. So if you put something into question and answer, guys, that's not where we need to stay. So I'm not going to even check that. Please go to the chat selection instead. If you were starting out, which states, counties would you start with first? Well, Dexter, I'm going to be honest with you. We really don't try to lead anybody any direction. I don't know if you've purchased the ebook already or any of the ebooks, but I will tell you that we don't like working. We won't actually, if you're going to be a researcher or partner with us, we will not work Oregon, Washington State, or Colorado. Also, North Carolina is completely on hold right now because of the length of time they're taking to pay out. So we're not working North Carolina. Florida is a separate program for us because the statutes are so different. There's a lot of differences in Florida. So that's only available in bundles. The rest of them, I would work just full speed ahead. How often does your staff reject a claim submitted by a researcher? 1 out of every 10, 20, more or less? Douglas, it depends on the individual. The only time we'll reject it is we call it kicking it back. And the only time we'll reject is if you didn't fill out the paperwork correctly or do the research correctly, in which case we're going to teach you, and we expect you to have issues at first, right? We're going to say, hey, here's what you need to fix these items and resubmit it, and we'll be able to accept it, okay? So it's come down to the researcher. We've had guys turn stuff incorrect right out of the chute. We've had people that took 3 or 4 attempts where they're like, oh gosh, now I understand what you're saying. You know, I had to fill out the conclusion sheet too, which is nothing. But I haven't been doing that, you know? So little things like that, it's easy to get. It's not hard for you to figure this out. Let me actually go down here a little bit. Sorry. Having said that, we also started doing something about 3 years ago where we will get back with the researchers now. If we have a file turned in and first thing that happens is it's sent to Jeff. He underwrites it. He makes sure you did the work correctly. Okay. After actually, Kathy takes a quick look and makes sure you filled out everything out. If you filled everything out at least, and you haven't put 100 pages, you know, some people think that if they add all this extra stuff, they're going to get a star, you know. That doesn't help us, guys, because we actually make physical files too. We don't want all the extra stuff, just what's listed on the worksheet. Anyway, she does a quick check, sends it to Jeff. Jeff does a more intense check of the file, then sends it back. And at that point, it's skip traced. We check to see, you know, where the people are and get it ready to go to the case managers. And we just added another one as well. At that point, if we find out that one of the claimants or more were dead, we're going to tell you, hey, we're not going to work this file because the claimant's dead. And I need to make a point because we've had people in the past, and I know it can be frustrating when that happens, right? It's not very often. I'm not trying to avoid your question as far as every 10, every 20. It really does depend on the researcher, and it also depends on variables like this. If somebody passed away, obviously we can't work it, okay? We have different rules for that as far as Florida is concerned and some other things, but we can't work it if we don't have a claimant to go after. We're not going to open up an estate file. We've done that before. It is a nightmare in most instances. So we're not going to do it. As a result of that, let's see, I want to make sure I'm still on the same page here. You know, you're going to occasionally be told it's dead, but we've had people actually argue and go, oh my gosh, you know, I don't believe it. I think maybe they're not dead and da, da, da. Look, we're using really high-end quality quality skip tracing system software. I'm going to believe what we got over, numbers.com or something silly. So that's one of the reasons that we will get rejected as well. How often is the active working file list updated? Actually, it used to be about 2 to 3 times a week. Rosalani, now it's very frequent. I would be amazed if we were under 4 times a week. What about Pennsylvania and New Jersey for mortgage overage lists? I believe you can get, Jeff, jump in here and tell me if I'm wrong. He knows the front line better than I do, guys. I believe you can get mortgage overage lists in New Jersey on their, I'm trying to remember what it's called, the SODA list, SODA. I don't know what that means. It could be surplus on docket, something like that, but it's called the SODA list. You can get it from Trenton, from the state. I think it's the Administrative Office of the Courts. That's for the whole state. But understand that not all the counties give you easy access to checking debt in New Jersey. So that's something to consider when you're looking at that. As far as Pennsylvania, I've had a lot of tax overages turned in. I can't remember if we've had mortgage overages turned in as of yet. What's your opinion on Pennsylvania as a state to start out in? Dexter, I don't have a problem with it. It's my understanding it's fairly easy to get tax overage lists in there. We haven't had a problem with it. The only place that we avoid, having said that, is Philadelphia. What happened in Philadelphia is the sheriff years ago got arrested for embezzling, actually put, it's my understanding, well over $10 million into offshore accounts that were surplus funds accounts. And as a result, they started what's called the DART program, Defendant Asset Recovery Team in Philadelphia. And they are a nightmare to work. I mean, we had one where I'm not kidding you, I'm not exaggerating. We were concerned that the claimant was going to pass away before we got the check. He was very old, and it took almost 2 years to get that check. So we don't do Philadelphia. The rest of the state's fine, but Philadelphia has this Byzantine DART, Defendant Asset Recovery Team system. And if, having said that, guys, you can look it up all you want. We're not taking files from there. What's wrong with Colorado, Alfred? Colorado's on a witch hunt. We actually got into an issue with Colorado, and I'll explain. I actually did a video of this on our YouTube channel. So we actually got contacted by the consumer affairs guys out there. What they didn't like was our mailing. We were telling people it was court-held funds, being honest, how much, and we actually put on our mailing how much it is, court-held funds. When we have a conversation with them, we tell them exactly what generated. We're full disclosure. However, they said, no, it's held by a department, not by the court. So you're misleading people. And we said, we still have to go through the court to get it released, so that we have no problem changing our mailing, but we still have to go through the court to get it released. So I don't understand how that's an issue calling that court-held funds. And they said it was, and we actually got fined for that. So we do not work Colorado. We're never going to work Colorado. Now, a very important point to make here. We didn't get fined because of the way we did the business. Okay. We didn't get fined because of our structured buyout or because using an attorney or anything like that. We got fined because they didn't like our mailing. And I'll be honest with you, at the end, when I was on the phone with my attorney and with their attorney, I had a conversation. I had a conversation with them where I basically said, guys, it's kind of silly that you're lecturing me about how I should be, comporting myself here when you guys have a budget surplus because you're taxing marijuana and you're telling me what's morally correct. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, are we still able to submit files during the month of December? Absolutely, Charles. Please don't misunderstand that. I tried to make it very clear in the video. We are still going to work files. We're going to work with the folks that already bought. And in November, we stopped sales because we're not going to start new people up, but we're still working all the way through December. Now, having said that, I give my crew Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off paid, and Thanksgiving Day, I believe Thanksgiving, and even Thanksgiving Eve. I give them a bunch of time off during this time of year. We just hired another case manager. We can handle whatever you guys can throw at us. We're also excited. I'm providing full health benefits to the guys now, and at no cost to them. Very good benefits, like $1,500 deductibles, that kind of stuff. And the retention should even be better. We've had good retention. Good Lord, Kathy and Jenna alone have been there forever. But we're excited that we could offer that to our crew. Hi, searching for help, mortgage debt, and lien help videos, etc. Dexter, that's right. If you open your ebook and you right inside of it, page 1 or 2 is the resources link to the link to the resources page with the password. You click on that, that'll take you right to the resources page. And there's, I think, 2 videos, depending on which program. I think there's 2 videos on title work. There's like a basic one and then an advanced one. And I've had a lot of people say they really like the tougher one because it went into a lot more detail on if you're running into a rough deal to research, which rough is still relative. It's really not hard once you get used to it. How can we learn a proper structured settlement contract to avoid finder fees? It's right in the ebook, Rick. It's either on the ebook or on the resources page. We have our structured buyout, and we also have our good Lord, structured buyout and the power of attorney that we use to our central attorney. That's right in the ebook. You buy that at surplusfundsriches.net. Download the file, and there'll be a link on there and also descriptions of the programs that we have. But definitely, you guys should see a file download that you can click on and download that file. Take that. If you haven't already bought, then those contract, all that is on the resources page or in the ebook. So everything that you need, including scripts, all that. RJ, I bought the National in 2017, but I just now am starting to work it. Are there any updated forms or links? Yeah, RJ, the great news is whenever we, first of all, guys, let me make something clear, because there's some of the videos are a little older that are on the resources page right now. People, oh, you got to update this. Why? We're using structured buyout and attorneys. Most times the videos you're seeing on there were like the 5th or 6th one we loaded. And it was as a result of constantly retooling given what we were getting with our support questions. So those are really solid and they work for the vast majority of people. If there are any updates, it's generally about submission rules or, like, for instance, whatever we take for a minimum surplus, that type of thing. All that is updated on the resources page, so you shouldn't have an issue at all. Hi, and an agreement to pay someone $10K up front for a $42,000 mortgage. I would never have paid that much, Kelly. I give 10% of the gross up front. You don't have to go over 10%. My attorney said since there is no way to record the agreement, I may lose my 10K because the client may make multiple agreements. He had just had cases where this happened. Is there a way to safeguard against this? Thanks. Well, first of all, I wouldn't give more than 10% up front. The other thing is that they need to sign a power of attorney to the attorney and sign the structured buyout agreement, and you can keep that yourself. And the main thing, Kelly, I'm going to tell you something about that attorney you need to understand. The only reason there could have been multiple filings is somebody beat him to the punch. As soon as you get it to the attorney, if it's a motion state, you got to get them to motion immediately. Start the motion, get on the docket now. If it's not a motion state and it's a claim state, they need to fill out the information, get it in now. You don't have to pay over 10% up front. I wouldn't pay more than $4,200. Also, it sounds like your attorney's kind of crossing a bridge you haven't come to yet. So have that conversation. He's had a problem with other stuff before. That doesn't mean he's going to have a problem with you. And I seriously doubt the other people that he was working with are using upfront buyouts. In fact, I'd bet that. Here we go. I want another program you have about zombie business. How do I get it since I bought so long ago? RJ, just open your existing ebook, okay? And when you go to the resources page, there should be a link to past buyer loyalty discounts. And a lot of the programs that we don't sell on their own on the main page that are just add-ons right now are available to past buyers off that resources page. I believe that's $347, $397, something like that. In general, and in the case of overages, how long to claim funds before the state can keep it? That's dramatically different state to state, Jared. There are certain states where they keep it in perpetuity, where a claim can be made. There are other states where it becomes no longer a county claim, but it's still state unclaimed funds. There are a lot of states that they disappear in 18 to 24 months. One of the things that we really recommend, because this is fluid, it changes from time to time, depending on the state and county. They can enact new laws and change how they're doing it. A great example of that is Michigan recently made it. They used to keep tax overages. They got struck down in a court case where they have to return them. So what they did is they decided, well, we'll have all the counties do this like February, March, but we'll make it that they can make a claim through the end of June. So like what, 3 or 4 months, kind of silly. And then it's considered abandoned property and the state gets to keep it. So one of the things, because it's so fluid and things change, is we always recommend you guys check you check the statutes for that state. Jeff, if you're looking for ways to work mortgage overages, you're going to want to get our New Year's Day program. More info on that coming soon. Jeff, I was trying so hard not to let the cat out of the bag on this. We'll get more information on that. If you guys are really looking for mortgage overages and it's in a state where you can't get a list, you need to make sure that you have liked or rather subscribed to our YouTube page. It's the same thing as our website, Surplus Funds Riches, one word. You need to make sure that you've subscribed to that. You need to make sure that you go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net, and make sure you follow our Facebook page and Instagram, all that, because there's going to be some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Also, I said this in the video earlier, guys, and by the way, it doesn't impact our current programs. We're still offering our current programs, but those are going to go away December 1st, or maybe even a little bit sooner. There'll be more on that. That'll be on the countdown page on Surplus. This is the time of year we pull everything off and decide if we're going to raise pricing on stuff or take a book out of a bundle, that type of thing. So the winter, fall specials will still be up through the end of November. Then it's gone. Excuse me. We do not sell books. We do not start new people in December, and then we start up again in January. So that's important for you guys that are on the fence, that are like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to, now would be the time. Mortgage overage files in Georgia. Easy to get tax overage, but don't know where to get mortgage overages. RJ, download that file, and trust me, we'll have something coming on that. Samuel, hello, Sean and Jeff. Can you please tell me more about Bankruptcy Goldmine? What kind of returns I could expect working these in typical turnaround time? So Bankruptcy Goldmine, not to be confused with hybrid surplus. By the way, guys, we're running out of time here. But Bankruptcy Goldmine, what that is going after money that's held by the bankruptcy court that is due to creditors. What happens if somebody has bankruptcy? They can't pay all of the debt. They pay all that they can. Assets are liquidated. Whatever happens, happens. However, they oftentimes send checks out to the creditors that come back. They don't make an effort. It's federal. They don't make an effort to find them. It has nothing to do with surplus funds. It's unclaimed money held by the bankruptcy courts. There's no fine or caps or anything like that. The money comes back to the court. The court throws it into the pile, unclaimed money pile. You can get in touch with the creditor, and for we don't even do buyouts. We just do agreements with them, make 25, 50%, 75%, whatever you want on that. And the issue is, though, it's generally low dollar stuff. Okay, it's $750, $1,500, $2,000 is your high end in unclaimed bankruptcy cases. However, you're getting a hold of creditors, which are crazy easy to get a hold of because they want to be found. These are business people generally. You can't work the high end stuff, like the high end stuff. You can't work banks and that type of thing. Those guys aren't going to work with you. But the smaller mom and pop outfits are going to work with you all day long, and they'll give you a really high percentage because they figured they never could collect on it, especially since the debt they were owed oftentimes didn't even have a judgment attached to it. They just told the court, the person who was going into bankruptcy told the court that they owed money to this person, and that's why it's listed in there. And you use pacer.gov to find the case information if you want to, but it's actually fairly easy to find the unclaimed money list with the bankruptcy court. It's called the BK Goldmine. If I submit files between now and December, would I have to resubmit the file again next year in January? No. Okay, he's asking about the purge process. We're going to be purging from last year, Corey, 21. Don't worry about that. Dexter, did you just use the word Byzantine? I believe I did. Sorry. Lewis, someone beginning overages business, what states are recommended? Again, Lewis, just stay away from Oregon, Washington State, and Colorado. Florida is a completely different animal, and North Carolina takes forever to pay out. We've had some people had difficulty in New York with getting payout on a timely basis and in finding accurate lists, frankly, for New York. Audrey, I noticed that in Maricopa, when you download the list, okay. Maricopa, just so everybody understands, you're welcome to work whatever the heck you want. But Maricopa is the easiest list to find online. You put in surplus funds, and it's like 4 of the top 10 hits on Google search. So Maricopa has worked really, really hard. Tahir, has the forbearance had any impact on obtaining surplus funds? Has it made it more difficult or easier? So Tahir, the forbearance, that whole situation, has been over for over a year. It doesn't impact surplus funds. Alfred, what's the average timeline from start to finish to get a claim paid on tax overages? The average time is 2.5 to 3 months. Dexter, what videos to help do research, mortgage, debt, and lien? Dexter, okay, if you bought our ebook, Dexter, okay, chat's shut down. So I'm going to answer the rest of these questions, but Jeff stopped it. Sorry about that. But okay, Dexter, what videos to help do research, mortgage, debt? When you buy the ebook, you have a link from the ebook, and that link goes to a resources page that has videos on it. Jared, any promotional deals on courses or discounts on the Diamond package after Thanksgiving? It's probably going to change after Thanksgiving. By the way, guys, we typically don't. First of all, the Diamond's a crazy deal. It's a crazy good deal. And one of the things that's nice about the Diamond is it also has a built-in voucher for whenever we come up with a new system, you get to get that for free. That's a nice deal. But as far as courses, we will never come down on our main stuff. National Surplus, Premier 16, National Deed Flip 30. I believe occasionally we'll have drops in bundles, but I'm not so sure about it. I'm assuming you guys come out Black Friday. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. Kevin, can researchers submit overages after New Year, or do we need to switch to deeds? No, Kevin, we're not shutting anything down. You can still, if you have our programs, you can turn them in. We're working, 5 days a week, every week of the year. And it doesn't matter. You can do surplus. The reason I brought up before that deed flips are going to get hotter next year is people are going to get the memo and they're going to realize there's been an adjustment to the market. So it's going to be easier for us to put deed flips together than it currently is. Right now, I'm really pushing surplus funds. Come March or so, I think deed flips are going to be just as powerful as surplus. So it'll be more on an even playing field. Does property research is needed for tax sales regardless? Yeah, you always do property research to make sure there wasn't additional debt on it, Lewis, because if there was additional debt, like another mortgage or an equity line or a lien, that has a priority claim to the surplus ahead of the owner, period. And no, the owner cannot just show up and they don't show up so the owner gets the money. It doesn't work that way. They're owed, the creditors or lien holders are owed the money, and the court's not going to give it to anybody else. Is there a way to see previous webinars? Absolutely, Julian. Surplus Funds Riches is our YouTube channel. They are all loaded up there. Audrey, I did not complete my question for Maricopa. There's a packet that says you need to fill out why. I don't understand the question, Audrey. I've never seen that before. Oh, is the county requiring that? I have no idea. Fill it out. John, you mentioned, whoa, just kind of skipped here. You mentioned on YouTube that deed flip is a little slower right now, maybe picking up after New Year. Yes, but that surplus funds will likely explode. Does it still look to be true? Yeah, I still think they're going to be on even keel come March, but surplus funds continue to go up and up and up. Our average keeps jumping up. It is going to be more and more and more important. And this is why I'm so happy the way we teach people how to do this, to research debt. Because remember what happened, guys. People got happy and started hitting the piggy bank that is their house the last couple of years prior to the rates going up, and using that to do other things like get a pool and that type of thing. So you're going to have these secondary loans out there that you didn't have before. So it's going to be extremely important. You have to do it for us if you want to work with us. You got to research debt, guys, or else you're going to get screwed trying to make a claim. If you are looking for ways to work, this is Jeff, to work mortgage overages, you're going to want to, get our New Year's Day program. Yeah, that's coming soon, guys. But you're going to want that, guys, even if you already have national surplus. Alfred, thanks, Jeff. What's the difference between motion state and claim state? Okay, Alfred, I'm Sean. So motion state means an attorney has to actually go before the court with a motion to request the surplus funds. It's a legal action. In claim states, it's a matter of filling out the paperwork. Even in claim states, we have our attorney fill out the paperwork because they can do it quicker, get the court to actually review it quicker, and we tend to get paid out quicker, and they take it a whole lot more serious that way. Plus, of course, the attorney can get it out in the claimant's name, use their trust account to break out the check, and that takes care of paying us out for what we agreed to on the structured buyout. So the attorney can either pay them direct or they can pay us. Generally, they pay us and we pay the claimant. Rick, sorry, I'm itchy here. I'm having trouble when I try to contact the claimant and leave a message. They never call or text me back. What message do you find works for them to contact us back about the surplus funds? Rick, I'm wondering if you bought our program, because the last message is always a takeaway. It's the same thing as the last mailing is a takeaway, where it's basically like, hey, you're not returning my call. I have to assume I have the wrong number. You don't believe it's true. I respect that. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to check and double check and make sure there isn't a claimant, or rather a judgment holder or creditor that's entitled, that we can work with instead of you. I very much appreciate the time. Have a great day. Your phone's going to ring off the hook. The other thing is, Rick, don't just call the claimant. Get a skip tracing system if you're doing this on your own. We do this for you guys if you have national surplus funds. We do the calls, find them and do the calls and mails. But honestly, I found that if you also try to contact their possible relatives and associates, you get a much higher hit rate. And there's always an Aunt May that wants to give you the information. They're the gatekeeper. Microbuild is really good. IDI is great at finding claimants. Microbuild is fantastic at identifying possible relatives and associates. Microbuild, MICROBILT.com. Call him, talk to Randy Mosteller. He will waive the startup fee if you mention Sean Bougie or Greater Good Company. That's $200 he's waiving. And that's a good program for finding possible relatives and associates. Guys, by the way, when you send something into us, we're not just calling the person, we're calling all our possible relatives and associates, and we're doing the same thing with mailing. We're sending out anywhere from, I'm not exaggerating right now, anywhere from 6 to 30 pages or rather 30 pieces of mail, and a ton of calls are being made. I mean, it's ridiculous how many people we call now. Lewis is great. Jeremy, will time flip be offered for New Year's? And is that program working well in the current economy? Purchase Ultimate Bundle and Zombie Revival in the past. Jeremy, like time flip, this new program that we're going to release is only going to be available once, at least at $397. Well, actually, time flip, what we're offering now for like, I think we offer it either as an add-on, or I'm not sure exactly how we're offering that. My bad. I need to back that up. The new program that we're offering is going to be available one day period at the end. You're never going to be able to buy it on your own ever. Charles, Alabama Supreme Court recently ruled that the state cannot keep tax overages. Is this accurate? Charles, I don't know that that's accurate. I thought Alabama was already releasing those. If that's the case, that's fantastic. I know that we've had things turned into us in the past on that, but that's fantastic. Serena, where is the file to download? It should be, you might have to minimize, Serena, the comment section to see that, but it's here for you to download. It should look like a paper clip, I believe, with maybe a red dot on it. Can you get around finder caps in Arizona for mortgage surplus? Okay, so Alfred, finder caps don't apply to us because we use a structured buyout at attorneys. We give them a 10% up front, and we use an attorney as well. Because of that, we're participating in the retrieval. Finder caps do not apply to us. We're not finders. We're actually participating, and we're giving them something of value, not just a contingency agreement. Jeremy, Jeff says, sorry, my bad. Jeff says time flipping will be offered. Audrey, I have the surplus funds bundle program, which I purchased 2 or 3 years ago. Fantastic. Jeff, RJ, check out our New Year's Day program. More info. We're going to get into the info on that in December. Diamond bundle will not be reduced. If anything, it will go up, says Jeff. And I agree with him. It's too cheap right now. By the way, if you guys are wondering what Jeff and I argue about, that's what we argue about. If anybody else used the question and answers section, I'm sorry. We don't review that. We just use comments. Also, do me a favor. If you can't download that file, that's fine. You should have a file download you can download. If you can't, just go to surplusfundsriches.net. Once you're there, go to products. It's going to require you to put your name, email, and phone number in. So what? We're not going to, you can always opt out of any emails you get from us. And they're typically, hey, we're having a webinar. Okay. So if you do that, it'll drop you on the products page. At the bottom is an insider's guide, and it covers every single program. Read through that. After you've read through that, if you still have questions, just call me. I'm available 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday at 7:04, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern at 704-791-9398. And yes, this replay will be on YouTube. Our YouTube channel, again, is Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. I hope everybody has a great night, and I won't talk to you before then. So happy Thanksgiving.